Of course, that was an exaggerated example of the problems I have with this keyboard, but yes, I do not like this keyboard. The tiny arrow keys annoy me. Everything else about this keyboard is great, but the tiny arrow keys are a deal breaker for me. So I started looking around for a different Apple keyboard that I could use. Looked at the really old ones, but I couldn't find a good adapter for the old styles, the Apple Extended Keyboard or the Apple Extended Keyboard 2. But yeah, I just didn't want to deal with having to find an adapter to get it to USB. And yes, that was a dramatic recreation, but I did go to the Apple Store website and found out just how expensive modern Apple keyboards are. It surprised me because they're all low profile keys, which I do not like. They're, like laptop keyboards. And so that was a no go too, both because of the low profile keys and because they're so expensive. So I did what I normally do. I went to eBay and I wound up with three Apple keyboards, three different generations. And I'm going to tell you how that happened. And I'm going to test each one today and choose which ones I'm keeping and which ones I'm going to sell on. So, this is the keyboard that came with my Power Mac G4. It's called the Apple USB keyboard, and the model number is the M2452. And the action on this keyboard is actually really nice. So let me. Oh, by the way, I know I type weird. It's kind of too late for me to relearn how to type, but apparently I just found out recently, like within the last couple of years, I don't use all my fingers typing. So I'm going to try to type as normally as I normally do, or as close to normal as I normally do, but we'll see. Okay. Okay, you can't see it, but I just typed the quick brown fox jumps over the lazy dog, the little sentence that uses all the letters in the alphabet. And as you see, I don't use all of my fingers when I type. I don't know why. I don't know when that happened. I told my wife, look at how I type. And she's like, why do you do that? And I'm like, I don't know. I don't know how long I've been doing that. Yeah, the action on it is nice. I like that. I like how the keys feel. Feels good to type on. But like I said, I do not like these small arrow keys. Arrow keys like this only belong on a laptop keyboard, a small laptop keyboard. This is, wouldn't normally trip over myself doing this, but it just doesn't feel nice. If I'm going to be playing games on this system, I don't want to be dealing with a tiny arrow key setup. And here are a few quirks about this keyboard. If you've never seen an Apple keyboard compared to a Microsoft or regular keyboard, we got the control button here, which I think is the same place. It's the same place on my laptop keyboard, but here you have Option, but it also says Alt, like a normal keyboard. And then here is the Apple/Command button. This little square with loops on each of the corners is the command icon. And you also have another one over here. And you can use these. There is not Control-Alt-Delete, but there is an equivalent for Mac. And you use these in different combinations to tell the computer to do certain things. I'm not very good at that, so I can't even give you an example right now. Some Microsoft keyboards have this, but I just think it's cool. It looks nice. Cap Locks has a green LED in it, right in the key. Instead of homing bars at the bottom of the F and J key, all of the keyboards I have from Apple have homing dots. And I don't like that as much because I like to be able to rest my fingers on those homing bars and know where I am. Because I am a touch typer, even though I type a little weird. I am a touch typer and I need to be able to feel where F and J are. And another quirk of this keyboard, which Apple I don't think has ever done since, is it has the power button right on this. Now, this power button won't work to turn the computer off. As far as I know, I don't actually want to try it right now. But it will work to turn it on. If the computer is off at the moment, you can hit that and it'll turn the computer on. Other than that, it has USB on either side of the top here, which is necessary because, as you see, I think oh no, it is a little bit longer than the frame I have, but the cord for the mouse is very short, so you need to have it right next to the keyboard and plugged into the keyboard. So that's why they do that, and I think that they still do that. All of the ones that I have do that. So this is the M2452. And here is the next generation of Apple keyboard, and I bought this off of eBay and had to give it a thorough cleaning because it was very nasty when I got it. This is known as an Apple Pro keyboard, model number M7803, and this is also a keyboard which could have come with the Power Mac G4. So it is also correct for the time period of my Power Mac G4. So what's different about this keyboard? Well, you can tell just by looking at it, some of it. It is a more traditional full-size keyboard. You have all these buttons right in the middle here that is more like a keyboard, like a full-size keyboard. Different than a PC keyboard, you have up to F15. It goes from F1 all the way up to F15. I don't think I've ever had a keyboard that had that many function keys. I'm sure they're useful for some people. I've never used them, but I'm still learning the different things that you can do with an Apple, so I'm not sure what they all do. It still has the LED and the cap lock button. It's not as bright for some reason. And it has a full-size arrow. Oh, that feels so much better. Full-size arrow pad keys set. Still has the homing dots instead of homing bars on F and J. It took away the power button at the top. Even though that this is the same time, around the same time, it looks like a bigger version of the same keyboard. It took away the power button that was on the older M2452. But I thought this was interesting. It still has a little sticker on it that says that it has this eject key. So you can use this button to eject the disk out of the system. And it has volume buttons. It has volume buttons on the keyboard, which the older keyboard did not. So you can probably hear the Mac beeping as the volume goes up and down. So they do work. And mute. Yep. So it is a full-size keyboard, much nicer. This is the one that I wanted. But when I first looked on eBay, these were more expensive than the third generation we're going to look at. But after I bought the third generation for less than what I was finding these for, an eBay seller offered me this one for less than $10. And I was like, oh, well, of course. This is the one I want. So I ended up buying this one too. And that's how I wound up with 3 generations of Apple keyboard. Just like the older keyboard, and I think like modern keyboards too. Modern keyboards, they did change where the USB ports are, but they still have USB ports. And here is the typing action. I think it feels pretty much the same as the M2452. Not the Buick Brown Fox, but the Quick Brown Fox jumps over the lazy dog. Yeah, it feels nice to me. I'm not sure if it's a membrane or whatever. I'm not a keyboard nerd. I like to have full-size buttons, I guess. If that makes me a nerd, so be it. And finally, this is the first extra keyboard I bought, which would not have come with the Power Mac G4. This was known simply as the Apple keyboard, model number A1048. And just like the M7803, I had to clean this one pretty thoroughly because honestly, when I got this, it was the nastiest keyboard I've ever seen because of how it was made. You can get stuff down into the shell that can't get back out. And this was cheaper than the M7803s I was seeing at the time, until someone sent me an offer for M7803 that was a good price. So I thought at first that I was going to compromise and go with a newer keyboard than what would be appropriate for a Power Mac G4. But I'm probably not going to have to make that compromise now. This came out in May 2003, so I think this would have been concurrent with the Power Mac G5 era. And as you see, it looks a lot like the M7803, except it's all white, which is part of the reason why it gets so dirty. You could get this in silver, I think, as well. I think that had black keys. I'm not exactly sure, but... And now the F keys got all the way up to F16. F16. Like I said, I'm sure that they are useful for something, but I don't know enough about Macs yet to know what these were ever used for. We still have the sound keys, but they don't work on this one. That's interesting. There's a mark against this one. I don't know why they don't work on this system, but maybe just too new. And we have the eject key still. We still have the dots for F and J. Like I said, I think all Apple keyboards went with that instead of the bars. I prefer bars, but I get what I can get. And you can see that, ooh, it's very hard to see, but there is a LED in the cap locks key still. Everything else, yeah, is pretty much the same as the M7803. It's just a different color. The USB ports now are in the top. And as you can see, it has a clear shell around it, just like my mouse, the Power Mouse, I think it's called. So that I had to clean this up really thoroughly, and yeah, it looks a lot better than it did, I promise. So let's try this one out. It feels pretty good. I did watch a video about this. This is a membrane keyboard. I think they all might be, but for someone who wants a mechanical keyboard, this is not it. The older Mac or Apple keyboards, I think, were mechanical, which makes them more desirable. But you need some kind of thing, because they didn't use PS2, I don't even think, for the connector. I think they used a proprietary connector for Apple, so you'd have to find a special adapter for that thing to go to USB or FireWire, and I don't want to deal with that. So, and I think that they might be more expensive too, I don't remember. So, to make this keyboard testing video a little bit more interesting, I bought an old typing game for children. I tried to get Mavis Beacon, but they're too expensive. So I got Adventures in Typing with Timon and Pumbaa. And first we have the keyboard that came with my Power Mac, the M2458. There we go. Something's happening.
Hey, Pumbaa, come on! We gotta find us some real food around here.
The first thing you've got to do is learn correct typing posture. That's not it. First, sit up straight.
Like this.
On the floor, if you can.
Like this.
Bring your elbow in for the floor.
My feet aren't flat on the floor.
The M key is ready, set, go.
Oh. How'd I do? 93% accuracy, 6. How can you tell words per minute? By typing letters. Okay, we switched keyboards. "11 words per minute, if you say so." And finally, the M7803.
Look at you. You've achieved so much. You must be very proud of you. Oh boy, I am proud of you, my friend. In helping Timon and Pumbaa with all of their adventures, you've learned a lot and are well on your way to mastering the keyboard.
So, yeah, I wound up with 3 keyboards, and this is the one I'm likely going to keep. The other 2 I'm probably going to sell. Stay tuned. I do have some more Power Mac G4 games content planned. As you saw at the beginning, I do have Alone in the Dark, the original trilogy, and I really want to try that out. I'm not sure if I'm really going to be able to do well at it, but I will probably stream it when I try it. I also eventually want to play Diablo, Descent 2. I think that's all. Oh, the Oregon Trail 2. I have the Oregon Trail 2 now. So, yes, I will have more Power Mac G4 90s Mac games uh, on the channel in the future. And I do have a few other ideas for videos also coming up. Thank you for watching.